Might be a bit quicker to get off the mark than a four-cylinder bike where you've got to rev it a little bit more. Without having ridden an RC45 to compare it with a Duke, I can't say, but really, you know, if he gets a good start, Aaron can, you know, he's got the bike, he's got the skill, he can hang with him. So let's just hope he gets away this time. Keely's still going to be a big contender. I mean, I think Keely, up until Fogarty smashed the lap record today, Keely had the lap record for Assen, so he knows his way around. But you know, Fogarty's got all those English fans there. You know, he may as well be racing in England, and I'm sure he'll want to make up for the disappointment of Brands Hatch.
Yes, and King Carl Fogarty well and truly on top of the table and the favourite to take out this race, judging by his form in the first race a couple of hours ago. As you mentioned, smashed the lap record, and so really riding confidently. As we see the riders just setting up for a start. We've got our commentators there. A great day, and in fact a great morning's racing here on Sky. I hope you've been enjoying it as much as myself and Richard Driver. Enjoy this race. It's the second of our Superbike races for this morning, and it comes in from Assen in the Netherlands, and you've got it as always live right here on Sky.
In it, and he was able to keep the pace up right at the early and all the way through. Troy Corser started on the 17-inch and wished he'd gone quicker on the early stages. He now has that information deeply embedded in his mind, and he knows he can go quicker. So can he hang on to that flying number one, his teammate Carl Fogarty? Colin Edwards really knew that here was where he had to take a couple of wins if he wanted to stand a chance of winning this championship. 125 points left up for grabs remaining in the remaining races, and Carl Fogarty has a 66-point advantage.
Watch those lights change to green. They go green. The race 2 starts, and Fogarty, front wheel pawing the air, gets a flyer, but Edwards is alongside him. Corser comes across. Killy tries to squeeze through from the second row of the grid. Chris Walker's trying to do the same, and they're all together into the first turn. Chris Walker, who's a notably quick starter, in 4th place, and Frankie Killy swings across to lead it through the first turn. And no, he's lost out. He's lost out to the slightly superior drive of that Ducati. Corser leads, Killy second, Carl Fogarty third, and I think that's Chris Walker in 4th place, where he wanted to be. The boy who had that quick shift mechanism problem in the first race after the first 2 or 3 laps. He's back in there with his toe strapped up. And another brilliant start for Peter Goddard, number 9. He went out with a broken gear shaft in the first race when he'd had such a brave fight for 7th place with Nori Haga. And how about that man, Akira Yanagawa, still suffering the after effects of concussion from last weekend, and a brilliant 6th in the first race, fairly much on his own once he'd lost the front runners. But this is the man who said he knows now he can go harder from the start if he gets the break, and that looks to me to be exactly what he's proposing to do, Steve.
Yeah, it does. Look at Fogarty down the inside. Does he get through underneath Killy? And he does. So Carl Fogarty goes into 2nd place, but Troy Corser, yes, he wished he'd gone quicker with that 17-inch rear rim and tyre that he knows and he feels confident with. He thought it might have given him problems as the race went on in the first race, but it didn't, so he wished he'd gone faster. Now, is he going to be chucking in some quick laps? But there we go. Chris Walker gets taken on the inside, I believe, there by Haga. Was that Haga?
No, that was Aaron Slight. Haga and Edwards had already passed him, and that was Aaron Slight who nailed him. So Chris just losing out on sheer speed and drive along the back straight, but he's still right in there, right behind Aaron Slight. At the front, the 2 Ducatis, followed by this man, first race winner at Assen last year, Frankie Killy. And Colin Edwards seems to have got the bit between his teeth a little earlier and a little sharper than he did in race 1. And Nori Haga, well, look at Haga, look at Yanagawa. The 2 works of Kawasaki's now hunting down their target man, the brilliant Chris Walker. And Walker sideways on into Didstedt, saved it going into the chicane.
Slight went through, passing Haga as well there. So Aaron Slight's the man on the move at the moment. He was complaining he never gets off the line that well. He's running fairly high first gear here. Can you believe? Does 175 kilometres an hour in first gear. That's about 110 miles an hour in first gear.
Well, he's right behind his teammate Colin Edwards, who of course had his gear ratios upped during training yesterday, Steve, when he felt that he was having to shriek the Honda a bit too highly in the couple of first gear corners. They need to use first gear. These Ducatis never go below 2nd gear unless things get truly traumatic in the last chicane on the last lap. And look at this lot. Nori Haga is in 6th place, and and he's behind Aaron Slight, Colin Edwards, Frankie Keeley. Colin looking up the inside, deciding against it. Frankie Keeley, the man who's at the moment holding third, but those Ducatis are just getting away, and the Hondas know it.
And Yanagawa's gone past Chris Walker, so Yanagawa is now up to 6th place.
Walker using one of 2 tyres he's got available, tyres he brought over from the home series, a rear Dunlop for each race and one for practice yesterday, because they're better than the equipment he's been getting given here at Assen by Dunlop. But look at this, right through goes Colin Edwards. He parks his Honda in front of Frankie Keeley. Now he's got no excuse, the track's available to him. Can he close on those Ducatis? Keeley is 4th, 5th Slight, 6th a rejuvenated Norrie Haga, who is this time gone away so that he's in touch with the leading bunch. Can he make it count? And both the factory Kawasaki's have got past that UK machine, the 1997 kitted bike of Chris Walker. So Walker has been pushed back into 9th place. Peter Goddard lying in 10th place after that really sad conclusion to his first race. But these two guys, look at the body language, Steve. Corser and Fogarty trying to make the breakaway. Corser's trying to make the breakaway. Fogarty doesn't want him to get away, so the body language is all about aggression and making the pace as high as possible, getting away from the pursuers.
Well, we know Carl likes to win, and he'll be chasing after Troy Corser, but it's not a big problem for him as far as the championship goes in his 2nd place, in that 2nd place there at the moment. I think he's comfortably closing in, and we look at the lap times, and Fogarty has lapped quicker than Troy Corser, 2:04.4, but he was in the 3s, and I expect him to be in the 3s as this race goes on. No question about the fact Troy Corser, that stunning time in Superpole, he set a blistering time in the practice sessions at 2:03.9. Beg your pardon, 2:03.1 was the time he set during Superpole, but that was with a soft tyre on. But at the moment, Carl Fogarty looks very comfortable in there. Keeley going well. Aaron Slight on the charge, the number 111 machine there, charging after his teammate. But Colin Edwards was the man that we expected to be giving Carl Fogarty a hard time. He wasn't able to do much in that first race with his 5th place finish. Complaining again about tyre problems. Tyres do seem to be causing all sorts of problems this time of the year. Everyone's Dunlops and Michelin's trying to build tyres that give the ultimate grip. Slight there going through past Keeley on the fast part of the course.
When he gets through into 4th place, he complained he'd been held up rather early in the race by Keeley's clever riding. Keeley knows this track so well, but the only way they're getting past that Suzuki is by cutting off its nose along the fast, twitchy back straight, Steve. That seems to be the only way that they can gas it past that wily old boy, Frankie Keeley. We thought that he was finished once he'd been passed in race 1, but he proved us wrong. He fought back. I wonder if he can do it again. Chris Walker has Peter Goddard behind him. Then there's a gap going back to a tremendous dust-up between Goreski, Meklau, a very on-form Igor Yerman, and Katsuaki Fujiwara on the 2nd Alstara Corona Suzuki. All eyes around here, many of them on this man, because he won that first race to a rapturous reception, and I think he's inching back in on Troy Corser. Troy's going as hard as he can. He just doesn't seem to be able to hold back this amazing man, Fogarty.
Yeah, no question about it. Fogarty's closed the gap. We wait. It was 0.674 as they cross the line last lap. We wait to see what comes up. And it's 0.4, so he has closed in, and again the fastest lap going to Carl Fogarty there, the 2nd fastest lap in fact to Aaron Slight.
Slight in 4th place. Fastest lap was Fogarty's, 2 minutes 4.2. Slight did a 2 minutes 4.3. Edwards a 2 minutes 4.6. In between them, Troy Corser, your leader, 2 minutes 4.5. So all the time, inches being pegged back by Fogarty. It's great to watch these two Ducatis racing like this when both of them at this moment in time are just going for flat-out absolute supremacy. Corser first, Fogarty second. Packed crowds of spectators watching, absolutely enthralled by this duel between Troy Corser and Carl Fogarty. Corser leads, Fogarty second. Colin Edwards is in 3rd place, the first of the Castrol Hondas, and Edwards is staying very, very much in contention, virtually matching the lap pace of these guys. So Colin must have made some adjustments between now and between the first race and this second one, and he's keeping very much in touch, whereas he'd really lost touch fairly early on. Aaron Slight also right there with his teammates. They could just be into another battle royal like the ones they enjoyed at Brands Hatch, where Edwards took a double victory, a very close double victory.
During the press conference, Carl Fogarty was actually saying it seems to him there's like 80,000 people here, or 70,000 people, and about 60,000 of those people are all from the UK. They're all waving the flags around here and cheering. They all seem to go quiet in the early stages of the race, but in the first race here today, when he stretched out that advantage, they started cheering more and more as the race went on. So far here today, we had Carl Harris win the Super Stock race. We've had a winner from Ian McPherson in the 600 Super Sport race. We had Carl Fogarty, so 3 wins so far, and it could be a 4th win here when Carl Fogarty, if he can pass Troy Corser. At the moment, the gap has come down again, 0.22, and again, the fastest lap to Carl Fogarty.
A look over the left shoulder of Colin Edwards. Ooh, and Aaron Slight goes for the inside, but doesn't quite have, even his late braking doesn't quite have what it takes. Fogarty's 2 minutes 4.2. That is the new fastest lap in this race. Behind them, Kili, Haga, Yanagawa. Yanagawa is just ahead of Levere, Chris Walker, Peter Goddard. That's a great battle going on there for 7th place.
Right now, Fogarty's caught Troy Corser. Can he pass him? I think yes. It'll be on the fast part of the circuit, and they're in the fast sweeping, long fast sweeping left hand before they break for the right. They're now into the slowest 2nd gear left-hander Distruben, and now coming out of here, it's up 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear about now as they flick it into 6th gear, and this is where Carl Fogarty is so good. If he can get in the slipstream there and get past, and we wait to see. Yeah, no, he doesn't quite manage it this lap, but that's where I think he's going to pass Troy Corser.
And we're getting some brilliant performances. The Yanagawa Levere gravy train of those factory Kawasaki's has edged away from Peter Goddard, who's got past Chris Walker into 9th place. So Goddard, once again, having a really brilliant run on that Aprilia. And in 12th place, Igor Yerman in battle with the factory machinery of Goreski and Fujiwara. There's some tremendous racing once again going on. And at 3rd and 4th places, Colin Edwards having to battle hard when he would like to be facing up to going forwards. He's having to fend off his teammate Aaron Slight. Slighty won't let him go that easily. Corser, look at them, identical styles. Both these riders tucked in behind the bubbles. Behind them, Edwards and Slight, and then Kili versus Haga. So they're almost pairing off now. Look at these guys coming down into the chicane. You can see here's Kili. Kili was just entering the chicane as these guys burned out and hurtled past us, roaring past us. Now, does Fogarty want to be at the front as fast as possible? It looks like it. He's going for it.
He's there. He passed not where I was expecting it, but he got good drive out of the chicane and just ran close behind his teammate Troy Corser there, got in the slipstream, took the right-hand lane and dived down the inside. Looked pretty easy to me. Now, can he stretch out that advantage? Troy Corser now has the benefit of following him, getting the tow from him on the faster parts of the course. He will also be pretty confident in his rear tyre. Now, he says the 17-inch gives the bike actual better grip. For far as he's concerned, it builds his confidence. He likes riding the 17-inch, but he'll be most annoyed that Fogarty's just passed him on what is thought to be the less advantageous 16.5-inch rim.
He finds that 16.5-inch rear gives him patter on the Ducati, and in fact the Hondas had found the same problem, hadn't they? So it's fascinating that the way these bikes are set up that fraction differently. Carl Fogarty does seem to have it sorted around here, but there again he's won 11 out of the last 15 races at Assen since 1993. And that battle just behind these two Hondas is being joined in big style now. Kili's got Haga, Yanagawa and Levere for company, and I think Chris Walker's presence has spurred on Gregorio Levere to... Oh, and Peter Goddard, who had such a brilliant first race that ended with that broken gear shaft. And look at this, he's lost out again. I think he's fallen off this time. Yeah, he has fallen off this time, and he's looking back on the circuit to see... I think he probably thinks there's something down on the circuit. You always do if you fall off. You try and blame something other than yourself, and I could see him glancing back, and this is where it is. Oh,
big high side there. That's coming out of Distruben.
Oh, and Chris.
Does Chris Walker collect?
Chris Walker manages to avoid it, but has to slow so hard. He's lost a lot of time and lost out to Andy McLeod. So Walker gains nothing from that, ends up still in 10th place. I hope he's managed to hold on to that, because if he's not careful, he's soon have Igor Yerman and the rest for company. But Chris has now got to pick his form back up and go back after Mecklau. He's lost an absolute mile of time in that incident. Walker now is right off the back of this leading crew.
But there's no question Aaron Slight's now being held up by, or is he? No, he's through. Aaron Slight stuffs it down the inside into turn 1, and he puts his hand up waving as he stuffs that Honda in there. And he shouldn't have waved, because it's allowed number 5, his teammate Colin Edwards, to go back past him. I think he went in there a little hot, and he just waved to say sorry about that, Colin. And Colin said no problem whatsoever, I'm coming back past you. Look at Edwards smoking up that RC45 as he came out there. Big black line sideways Honda. Now Aaron's got to do it all again, but he does look to be quicker at the moment. But that where he passed, he just got in there a little bit too hot, and I think he ran Colin wide.
So the Hondas, they're back and the best of friends now after their fracas at Donington. But that doesn't mean that they're going to give an inch out on the track. Look at Fogarty drawing out a lead, no matter how hard that man Corsa goes. And look at these guys, Kili, Suzuki, Haga, Yamaha, Yanagawa on that Kawasaki, and the second Kawasaki of Gregorio Lavia. Harold Eckel will be loving this. These boys are putting on a show, and again, that is the place that Kili loses out every time, Steve. Is that down to sheer top-end power on behalf of the Suzuki, or slight lack of it?
I think it's top-end power and confidence on the brakes, but if you remember last year, Kili was about the quickest guy through there on the Ducati. That was where he tried to pass Carl Fogarty on the last lap of the second race. Fogarty moved over and blocked it, but there's no question on the Ducati, Kili was as quick as anywhere, so I can only assume more than speed. I think it's about confidence on the front end of that Suzuki at the moment. He probably just isn't quite dialed into it. Slight is being held up, there's no question about it whatsoever. There's no team orders here. We saw in the first race, Aaron Slight now is desperate to get past his teammate Colin Edwards. We've spoken in the past about it. He is the hardest thing in the world to pass your teammate, because you don't want to be muscling your way through. You don't want to charge up the inside and put him off, especially the fact that Colin Edwards is third in the championship.
But he's going for it this time into the chicane. No, not quite.
And really, passing your teammate is always the toughest thing. It's probably the most satisfying thing you can do, and that's really how you gauge yourself. And Aaron Slight, contract signing time, he'll be keen to pass, and he's got the inside now, but yeah, he's through this time. I think this time Aaron Slight's done it, and I think he's going to make it stick. And I think he's going to keep both hands on the handlebars. No waving this time, because this is where Colin came around the outside, and this time he moves out, covers that move, and Colin Edwards is relegated to 4th place. Aaron Slight has a bit of clear track ahead of him. I would think that his aim would be to try and claw back a bit of time on Troy Corsa, and Corsa at the moment is in 3rd. Corsa at the moment in 2nd place. Oh, he's a good nearly 5 seconds ahead. But look at this, the two factory Kawasaki's closing in on the back of Haga and Frankie Kili. So Akira Yanagawa and Gregorio Lavia putting on a hell of a show from the man who's just strolled into our studio right now, the guy who won the Super Sports race for Kawasaki, Ian McPherson. We've had 3 races so far today, 3 British wins, and right now Fogarty is looking like he's going to make it 4 out of 4. And with the sidecar race yet to come, we could still have 5 with Steve Webster. It could be a complete clean sweep. We could have been at Donington Park. But
and Edwards goes for the inside just when we thought that no, but Slight hangs on, keeps his braking late, holds the line, and has it at the end of that rapid straight. Behind him, Haga and Kili coming under fire increasingly. Kili's got back in front of Nori Haga. Brave man that he is, he must be getting more confidence in that front end, Steve, because he definitely pulled him at the end of the straight.
Yeah, no, he was in front before that point. He passed him round the back somewhere before that, but nevertheless, this is where the battle seems to be for the 3rd spot. But we look again at the lap times, and Fogarty is 0.6 of a second faster than anyone else on the circuit at the moment. It must be so demoralising for everyone. The guy is on rails at the moment, looking very good. He just seems to be able to pump those fast laps in the whole time. And look at the distance he's pulled out on Troy Corsa. It was 1.8 seconds. We wait because they're coming through the last corner over the start and finish line. The computer in front of us will give us that gap, 1.8, and it's about to flick through any second now. 2.6. Bang on cue. Oh, and here's the battle now. It looks like number 5 there. Edwards got the drive out the chicane, but Slight has the inside line. Aaron pretty late on the brakes at the end of this fast section here now, and I think he's once again confirmed that, yep, he's into there in 3rd spot. And the Kawasaki's now have got right onto the back of the Haga's Yamaha and that Suzuki of Frankie Kili. That's become a 4-man battle for 5th place. Look at these two. Well, you thought that Slight was being held up. Now it looks like the other way around. Well, it's often the case. It's easy to follow, hard to stay out in front, and it does look all the time I'm watching there. Edwards, he's very quick into the corner. He's definitely being held up going on the way in. Oh, did I see his foot off the footrest there for a second? But it looks to me like Edwards is Edwards is the guy that runs into the corners a lot quicker. He's got a lot of confidence. The front end's working well on that RC45. But Aaron, at times on the circuit, can stretch out coming out the corners. He gets good drive coming out.
Carl Fogarty leads, running away with the race again. .6 seconds in front. Carl Fogarty, 8 laps completed, half distance in the second race of the World Superbikes, round 11 at Assen. What a remarkable performance. They're very satisfied pit crew, no doubt, and of course they're a 1-2 for the Ducati Performance team. It's just that the second place man now a little more distant than he would like to be, and a lot of those spectators are English, and Vito Goreski's gone down. The second of the Yamahas goes down. We hope that Vito's okay after his brilliant third place in a very damp first race at the A1 ring last Sunday. A bit of a disappointment for Vito Goreski. He finished 13th in the first race here at Assen. This man, no disappointment for him as yet. He reckoned he proved that he was a decent wet weather rider after all last weekend, and now he's proving what everybody knows, that he can race round Assen faster than anybody else as well. Those two Hondas still at it in third and fourth places, and look at those guys, they're not really getting away. Killy is pulling those other guys along with him, or the Kawasaki's are pushing him and Hager along. But look at this. Akira Yanagawa, it's hard to believe he was so badly concussed just a week ago. Look at Nori Hager trying to get round the outside. Not quite making it, and Akira looks underneath. Can't quite get there through the right-hander at the end of the main straight.
Good ride from Lavia now, number 6, right
Terrific.
there with his teammate. He's right on the pace, but once again, the lap times prove it. Fogarty is 5/10 quicker than anybody else.
Behind Lavia, Andy Mecklau, and Chris Walker's lost touch as Keeley goes through into 5th place. Chris Walker's been so badly delayed by that accident when Peter Goddard was high-sided that he's really lost touch with Andy Mecklau, so he's nailed down in 10th place. A little bit unlucky for the UK Kawasaki rider.
Look to me, though, Keeley smoked his rear tyre. He's got the thing well sideways there, and once it starts going sideways, it only gets worse. So Keeley, I think, once again, struggling a little bit. He is in front of this pack at the moment. Can he stay there? But he's really got that number 7 Suzuki spinning up.
I think he's getting a sniff of the Hondas, isn't he? And he wants to try and make it stick. But once, oh no, this time he braves it out where he'd been passed on several occasions on previous laps. He braves it out and keeps Hager behind him. Killy, Hager, Akira Yanagawa, Gregorio Lavia. Brilliant stuff. Lavia really is on the pace like we've not really seen him. Perhaps his confidence was upped when he was leading that second race in the rain at the A1 ring, and he's probably thought, if I can do it in the wet, I can do it in the dry. Perhaps it's some advice that Ian McPherson's given him, of course, because he certainly had that advice, and it certainly helped him last weekend. What a great sight. That's one of the great images. Those guys tucked in and just looking up all the time for a possible advantage, a slight change in line. And this time, Yanagawa looks underneath Hager. Can't quite make it stick into that final chicane, and they come past us any second now.
I don't believe what I'm seeing. Carl Fogarty, 2:04.4, 0.6 of a second faster now than Troy Corser in second place, and virtually a second clear faster than Aaron Slight in third spot.
Actually, 1.3 seconds faster than Aaron. That really must be disheartening, because Aaron felt after the first race that he could hold the pace a bit. And look at Yanagawa. Yanagawa sweeps imperiously past Nori Hager. A great move from one Japanese rider on another. And now up into 6th place goes Akira Yanagawa. Can he make that one stick? He has done right now. Now that'll encourage Gregorio Lavia. He's going to be thinking, right, if that Kawasaki can go past, then so can I. And for the first time, there's almost daylight between the Hondas. Edwards just slightly loses the advantage there, and just loses a couple of bike lengths. There's Corser in second place. Someone holding, it might be Carban holding up a hand there as if to say, please, I'm going to keep out of your way as best I can. He was the first man to be lapped in the first race. Could be that it's happened to him again in the second one. But Fogarty, look at that. On twitchy, but on rails at the moment. Sorry, Carl, don't do anything silly now I've said that. You're looking very, very smooth, very comfortable, and you're 3.7 seconds in the lead. This is 10 laps gone out of 16. Carl Fogarty leads in second place, Troy Corser, but the gap was 3.7 seconds on the last lap. Aaron Slight third, Colin Edwards fourth, Frankie Keeley fifth, and Akira Yanagawa has just snatched sixth place and settled in beside me for a few minutes. I've got Ian McPherson. The first thing, briefly, Ian, congratulations on that race win. That was a beauty in that World Super Sports race. What do you reckon to the performance of your teammates here? Look at Yanagawa. What do you want to see him doing next?
I think he's riding really well. As you say, coming back from the crash he had last week in Austria, it's amazing that he's up on the pace. Nothing seems to faze him. Nothing at all. He's just snatched the advantage from Killy there, gone through into fifth place, and he really is riding very smartly indeed. And what about Gregorio Oliveira? Have you said anything to him this time when you came in? No, I never actually, just in case. But he doesn't look as if he needs any advice. He's riding really well, very smooth, and he's on the pace. You know? He's not far away from the Hondas, not with Yanagawa, Killy and Hager, so what more can you ask for? And I think at the moment it looks to me as if Hager might be actually slightly holding Gregorio up. Hager's just slightly slid off the back of Akira and Frankie, and he was looking anxiously over his shoulder there to see which side Gregorio was. I think it could be that Lavia needs to get past him, because that gap ahead of him is going to open up a bit. Yeah, I don't think it'll be long before he gets past him. How are the Dunlop tyres doing okay on the Kawasaki's? As far as you know, they had no problems in race one. No, I don't know about the Superbikes, but our compounds are similar to the Superbike tyres, so I didn't have any problems in my race, so I don't see why they should have any problems. I think the Dunlops are quite well suited to this circuit. Good. He certainly proved well. He's not just only improving that, as Edwards makes a move through on his Michelins, brushes Aaron Slight aside, as if to say, I don't like the heat that's coming from Yanagawa here. Just get out of the way and let me get through. So Edwards pushes back through into third place, Slight fourth, and Yanagawa, he is remarkable. He looked to me, I don't know how you felt, Ian, but he looked exhausted at the end of yesterday when you had that press conference in the Kawasaki camp. Yeah, he's had a tough time. He couldn't even drive his motorhome up to the circuit here at Assen. Someone else had to drive it. He was that bad. So it's really amazing that he's on the pace. You know, he's really very gritty character. A lot of determination shown this weekend. Just to be out there, never mind to be racing for a podium position. Right. And of course he tends to hide it behind such an amiable exterior, doesn't he? He's just such a smiling, pleasant man all the time. Remarkable. Core of steel and all that. And it's number 58 that they're trying to brush their way past, and that's a Platakis on the BFK bike shop Kawasaki. Let's hope he keeps well out of the way. And Frankie Keeley suffered a little bit at his hands as they exited the chicane with just 4 laps to go. Keeley's there. Hager, I think, has lost out to Gregorio Lavia as they went past us. Lavia has got through. You said it wouldn't be long. Now, can he make a move on Frankie Keeley? That might depend a little bit on the comparative capabilities of their tyres. As far as rubber's concerned, certainly Keeley was beginning to slide a bit earlier on, as Steve Parrish noticed, but there doesn't seem to be any problem with Akira. And Akira-san is a guy who likes to slide a bike, isn't he? And he likes the thing to move about underneath him. Yeah, he's one of the best at it as well. He's so controlled. And that's the way the Dunlops, for the tyres he's on, the Dunlops, they like to be slid about quite a bit. You know, there's no problem. They're very, very controllable. And just as you said that, it did snick a little bit then, but obviously you didn't jump like I did. That's fine. No problem. He knew what he was doing. He knows what he's doing. Well, at the moment, what he knows what he's doing is trying to find a way past Aaron Slight and even Colin Edwards. If he could find his way past both these Hondas, then he could even find himself back on the podium, which would be a remarkable performance. Edwards, Slight, and the Kawasaki. Colin Edwards, Aaron Slight, and behind him, number 4, Akira Yanagawa. We say thanks very much to Ian McPherson. He, once again, congratulations to him. Don't forget, you'll be able to see on Eurosport the World Super Sports race that he so finally won prior to this second World Superbike race. And another great British win here at Assen. And look at this guy, Fogarty. He is at the front now, 5.5 seconds at the in the lead. And disbelieving Sam Davis, the girlfriend of Troy Corser, looks on a little bemused.
wondering what her husband, her man can do about it.
You had them engaged last week, now you've got them married.
I'm sorry,
anyway.
Troy, please forgive me. And behind Troy Corser, it's noticeable also David Tardozzi. Where do his affections lie? He manages to share them equally between both these fine riders, doesn't he,
He's such
Steve?
a tremendous team manager. I think his affections lie with Ducati, to be quite frank with you, but undoubtedly Carl Fogarty and David Tardozzi go back a long way. They've been good friends for a number of years. Carl Fogarty has done nothing but eulogise over his performance as a team manager. He seems to inspire him. He thought at the beginning of last year, when his career was actually, he felt it was coming towards an end, and David Tardozzi picked him up, shook him around, slapped him around the face, said, "You can do it," and he's proven it. And it really has seemed to have inspired this man and brought him bang back on form and proven to him that he's the star, really. He is just absolutely flying. He says he's only got one hand on that trophy for the championship, and he's absolutely right. There is only one hand on it. There's still a lot of points to be had, even after this race, if he wins it, and we hope he probably does win it, because there will still be 100 points up for grabs, and until he's got 100 points, he's not won the championship, so it's never done till it's done. But Troy Corser at the moment doing a good job, obviously, for Ducati. What better way to finish the weekend than a first and second for David Tardozzi?
And there was 1 second difference between the 2 minutes 4.7 lap of Carl Fogarty on his 13th circuit and the 2 minutes 5.7 lap of this man, Troy Corser. It'll be interesting to see what Troy has to say about that. It's been a tough one for him because he did everything he possibly could. He got out of the trap cleanly, he made a break early on, and then Fogarty gradually ground him down and eventually went past and began to open up a gap. Troy Corser then hasn't won a race here in all the years of trying at Assen, and it doesn't look as if, barring a disaster for Carl Fogarty, that it's going to happen this time around. Once again, he might be on that podium, once again in second place. Colin Edwards is third. Fourth place, Aaron Slight. Fifth, now Yanagawa, still, of course, pressing those Hondas. Watch for them to come into view. Whoa! Mr. Carman, please get out of the way of this little number. And I think, that got very messy. I thought for a moment that the Kawasaki was going to squeeze through into a sort of Honda sandwich. I think he almost did.
Yeah, he just took to the dirt there.
Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. He didn't need to go to that extreme, but he saw the blue flag, and I don't know whether he just let the brakes off and panicked or what he did, but anyway, he took to the dirt, and good on him. He got himself out of the way, and it hasn't upset this little battle here for fourth place.
And look at that man, Pier Francesco Chili, Steve. He just never gives up, does he? He's now right back in this fight for third place. Amazing. Just when you think he might be having a few problems or that his tyres might be shot, he forces the Suzuki back into contention. Absolutely fantastic. Lavia 7th, 8th Haga, 9th Meklau, and 10th Chris Walker. Hanging on in there in 10th place, Igor Yerman 11th, Fujiwara and Malatesta 12th and 13th. And look at this now. This is for the final podium place. One of these guys will have the pleasure of talking to Ben Miller and waving to this huge crowd, and I'm sure they would all like to enjoy it, wouldn't they, Steve?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it, and it's still pretty important. I would have said if I was Hondas, I would want Colin Edwards, number 5, to take that third place, but he's not going to if it carries on like that, because Aaron Slight for himself wants to get that third place, and he doesn't, because Edwards lets the brakes off and runs right round the outside of Aaron Slight there. But at the end of the day, Colin Edwards, number 5, still mathematically does have a chance of winning this championship. It's a very, very slim chance, but he does mathematically do it. Aaron Slight doesn't, unfortunately. He's only got 268 points compared to Edwards on 312. We've said after this race there'll still be 100 points up for grabs, so mathematically Edwards can still do it. So from Honda's point of view, they really do want to see Colin Edwards on that spot on the rostrum.
So Edwards at the moment has that foot on the rostrum. He is number 5. Aaron Slight behind him, Yanagawa, and those guys all welded into one in our pictures all the time, because the man right at the back of that squad is, and more back markers to come just as the assault squad hits that point where Frankie Keeley went down on the last lap last year. He won't be wanting to do that again, will he?
And don't discount him.
No, no way.
Final lap. I don't know if we want to watch it. The chicane at the front, it's comfortable. 7-second advantage for Carl Fogarty. Right on cue, there he comes. 7 seconds. He can cruise quite comfortably now, but the battle is for third place, because he, in turn, Corser has 7 seconds over Colin Edwards in third spot.
Fogarty leads, and he's going to get another absolutely barnstorming reception from this huge throng of cheering English of the bethonged throng of English fans who are amongst all the Dutch spectators here. There's a vast percentage of Brits. The flag of St. George that Foggy knows and loves is everywhere around here, as well as Union Jacks and foggy gear of every possible description. He's leading. Troy Course is in second place. Who on earth is going to be in third? We'll find that out when they've come through the final chicane, as they come up to pass Breike on the Hollenstedt Kawasaki, or rather Carl Fogarty does. And I would think that Mr. Breike wants to keep well out of the way of this guy. This is not the time to do any
3 kilometres remaining for Carl Fogarty. 6 kilometre lap, and Slight goes through on the fast part at the end, but we saw before number 5 there, Colin Edwards going the outs on him, but not this time. The chicane is going to be where it's all at. Carl Fogarty majestically sweeps past the back marker there. He's got loads of time, loads of he doesn't have to charge up the inside or do anything silly now. About 1.5 kilometres remaining for him to take the double win here at Assen, the 1999 World Superbike. I think almost certainly, without tempting fate, we are looking at the 1999 world champion here. Things are going to have to go drastically wrong for him not to be the champion. Things are looking so good for him. He's riding so well. It's like he owns this circuit. It really is.
His lead will go from 66 points to 71 points, and if he can keep it like that at Hockenheim, he'll be world champ. Carl Fogarty raises the front wheel, crosses the line, shakes his head in joy. 12 victories out of 16 races here at Assen since 1993. And look at this! Yanagawa goes for the inside. Oh! Colin Edwards was going to lose right out unless he could get the power back on the Honda, and it's Aaron Slight who takes third place. Fourth place, sensationally, for Akira Yanagawa, and fifth place, Colin Edwards. That's cost him 5 points in the championship chase, a vital 5 points, and in sixth place, watching the whole of that grandstand view for Frankie Keeley. What a performance from the man on there. And look at Michaela Fogarty, absolutely over.